The world we once knew has been lost to shadow. Was it sundered in fire and brimstone? Drowned in flood and rain? Was it tragic decadence, a great fall, unspeakable corruption? Or did the awakening of magic destroy our world? No one knows for certain. Reach through the shadowy mists. Find a fragment of land infested with shadowy corruption, yet lit enough to find your way. Find a creature of light, a sylph. They are friendly and willing to guide you. Perhaps the two of you can find other survivors. Perhaps this land can serve as a shelter. Perhaps together you can build a sort of haven. Forge friendships to save the world.
Hello, and welcome to the Unleashed Games weekly playtest in 2025. Oh my goodness, it's 2025. Happy New Year, everybody. I am Irena, CEO of Unleashed Games, and we are here to playtest our game Haven, Forge Friendships to Save the World, a family-friendly cooperative RPG that actually we're starting to call an adventure generator or an adventure royale. I don't know. What do you think of these terms? We're trying to come up with a cool way to brand what it is that we're building because there's nothing else like it on the market. And one of the reasons why is because it's based off of a gameplay pattern that we knew and loved like 20 years ago. But the modern games that used to provide this kind of gameplay have kind of updated and grown out of what the experience was that we loved and what kept us coming back for more. I'm a former developer of World of Warcraft. I worked on World of Warcraft Vanilla with the first patch, Burning Crusade, and Wrath of the Lich King as a UI UX designer, artist, and engineer, and went on to work on Kingdoms of Amalur, Game of Thrones Conquest, and Monopoly Go. And here we are with a game that feels very much like WoW and EverQuest, one of my favorites. Because we loved the game. And why? Because it helped me make friends. Actually, some of my oldest friends were people that I played EverQuest with for years, and they're still my friends today. And it's that exact thing that makes us want to create what we're building with Haven. But those games actually take a lot to build. They take a lot of money and a lot of time. And particularly because there's so much content that you need to create to be able to give people things to do in the game. So games like that, they typically, like World of Warcraft, cost over $110 million to develop. Kingdoms of Amalur from 38 Studios had spent over $130 million to build that title, and it never saw the light of day because it still needed another 30. These games are really expensive to be able to bring to people like us who love to play them. So that's one of the things that we're trying to solve with Haven is how can we build that really core experience of running around, adventuring, meeting new friends, and taking on greater and greater challenges with other players without like the cost and the overhead, and also without the grind and the time commitment. But we can't know if we've actually built the right thing unless we play test. So what we are doing differently from most other people is that we are developing in the open. We host this stream every week and invite you in behind the curtain on what it's like to build a video game. We show you the ugly. You should have seen us in 2023 when we started. There's some videos on YouTube. Check it out, friends. But like the game that we're playing today is night and day, and the game that we will be launching will be night and day from what you see. But in order to get there, we need investment. And I'm like transparent to a fault. So, and I usually do a little bit of an update. And since it is the new year, I'll be quick about it because what we really want to do is meet our guest and get into the nitty gritty and see if we can take down Cobblemut because like dude needs a little spanking. But the reality is Unleashed Games has run out of money. We have a team of literally 12 people, and yet none of us are being paid. But we keep coming back week after week and working on this game because we love it so much. And in fact, on LinkedIn, I think I get like 3 to 5 people almost a day, like, you know, kind of varies, but at least like 10 people a week reaching out and offering to come in and help work on this game because they see the magic that we are going for. And we really want to get this game out to market because it's great. It's a lot of fun. I really want to get you all into this game as well. But there's stuff that needs to get done. Our game doesn't have a back-end infrastructure to be able to handle proper account management. We need to make our villages more dynamic. There's a whole backlog of things that need to be developed in order to bring this at least into a friends and family alpha. And we need investment for that. We need development partners with money to help us make this a reality. But one of the things that we have done, well, before I get there, one more thing. It also costs us money to bring this stream to you every single week. Not only like, you know, all of us are working for free, sure, but we were actually using StreamYard. We're on a new streaming service because it's less expensive. We kind of dropped our costs there, but our streaming service costs money. Our server space costs money, and it doesn't cost a lot, but it's money that like I don't have. I've been bankrolling this on my own for about the last 8 months. And one of the things that we've put together, and we would really appreciate your help with, is if you keep coming back, and thank you so much for joining us every week when we do stream. When if you're new here, please like keep coming. It's really a blast. One of the things that I have done is I've set up a Patreon, and we're hoping that maybe those of you who believe in us might sign up and help support us a little bit financially so that we can at least keep running these streams and keep developing this game. Because if we have to, we'll like inch our way to like crawl our way to the finish line. But I'm going to drop the URL into chat. But please, if you do love seeing what we're building and participating, and more will be getting folks in our audience into the game to play. In fact, I sent out the download to one of our Patreon subscribers, and folks on the Patreon will get priority in terms of getting on and playtesting with us. But we have a Patreon set up at Unleashed GG. If you like have a heart to, we would really, really appreciate the support. Thank you. So another thing that you can do to support us is liking our channels wherever it is that you're connecting from. Whenever you see a stream posted live on LinkedIn, click that attending button or click the notification button on YouTube, and subscribe to our channels, because potentially we could even monetize our channel, but we don't have a ton of reach. But we do have some dedicated supporters and also lots of invested fans. So let's try to pump up this channel. In 2025, my New Year's resolution is to get more and more fans aware of what it is that we're doing. And I ask you all if you would please share these streams, whether it's our reposts or notifications about our Friday streams. Get your friends who love MMOs in on this, because they're going to want to see it. And I guarantee you they're going to want to play. And speaking of MMOs, we actually have one of the coolest guests. I'm very excited that we've actually been able to book him on to the stream. This person is I've actually been a little bit in awe of him. Where he's gone with his career. He actually joined the World of Warcraft team long after I left, but we both worked on the same game. Y'all, World of Warcraft celebrated its 20-year anniversary in 2024. Wild. And to think that, two people could work on the same team and be so disparately apart, but at the same time, we have the same love of the game and we experience the same magic that Blizzard has in making and how they design games and how they build for players. And he's gone on to work at incredible studios like Phoenix Labs and Netflix and build products there. And he has his own YouTube channel. It's so cool. And I'll share that link. And please, if you would, make sure to subscribe. I want to do him a solid to get him more subscribers out of our stream. But I'm so grateful to introduce our friend, Andrew Chambers. Welcome, Andrew. Oh, you're muted. Hold on. Let me fix that.
Hey, Irene. Hey, everyone. How's it going? It's good to be here. It's great to be here.
Welcome. So, do we call you Andrew, Andy? What do you prefer?
Andrew, typically. My mom was the only one that called me really Andy when I was growing up. I had one person call me Drew, but that was way back in Australia. So, and then when I moved over to Vancouver, there already was an Andy at Relic. So then it became Andrew, and that just pretty much stuck. So,
well, I'll tell you, I have a cousin. I called him. They called us twins when we were younger because we looked identical, and he's an Andrew as well. And so I have a soft spot in my heart for Andrews.
There you go. And it seems like everywhere that I go, there always was another Andy or another Drew. So Andrew, and yeah, it just really stuck. So it makes a lot of sense.
Well, welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, my pleasure. I'm here to help. And, we chatted about doing this sort of last year. And so, anytime that someone is trying to build what you guys are trying to build, I really want to lean in and help support and do what I can.
Well, I really appreciate that. And tell me, so you were on the WoW team. What did you do on the WoW team?
So when I first joined, I was actually joined with Chris, a friend of yours, on your team, and worked on a lot of class design there. Shaman, that was at the time when we were culling a lot of talents and removing a lot of the complexity of the classes. So I rebuilt the Shaman, Hunter, which was contentious, and then I did some work on the Mage as well. And then I kind of went on to own some more bigger features like Warfronts, Visions, and Azoth. It was more like content and system design features.
What was your favorite part
of working on WoW?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a hard question. So from a content perspective, what I built that was my favorite part was probably the Visions of N'Zoth. There's a lot of freedom there. From just a team perspective, it's one of the most, how do I say this? Collaborative yet competitive teams I've ever worked on in my entire life. And in a good way. When I think that's actually how that game has maintained such a high quality bar over the years, is that you knew that what you were building had to kind of compete with what Schrader or Qubit or Feasel was building as well. And it wasn't in this attacky or negative fashion. It was always I have to do the best work of my life kind of thing, in order to try and maintain. Sorry?
The bar is high.
The bar was always super high, and it was such a positive thing. And then also the tools very much supported that kind of that workflow as well. I mean, the tools were very different when I joined as opposed to when you were working on it. We had all the live update and everything like that. But those were probably
still rudimentary.
It was still pretty rudimentary when I joined as well, but the whole ability to like live update and like that was in the engine and just be able to iterate so quickly. That was like a huge component of another reason why I think like the game is such high quality. But then on top of that, just like the quality of like the people fundamentally, like that you got to work with, like the opportunity to work with people like Chris and Brian and Chad, or like these people who were so damn smart and so damn passionate about what it is that they wanted to build, and then everyone was like highly aligned around what the product was. We all loved it to death. Like when I left Blizzard, and I left the WoW team, I actually describe it as I had to break up with the game. Like I can't go back and play it anymore because it's simply like it has that strong relationship with it that it like I play it now, or if I did, I'd be like, no, I just want to get in there and fix this or change this. And that was constantly the mentality of working on that game. It was very positive and very creative and very supportive. Yeah, it was nice. Those are probably like the top sort of things that I found the most enjoyable.
Oh my goodness, your name dropping is like pangs in my heart. I mean, big fans of Brian and Chris, them being on my team, but you mentioning Ryan Schwader, who actually is, I think, working on Fortnite at Epic. And
yeah, he's over at Epic now. Design director, just got promoted to design director. Yeah,
congratulations to Schwader. But I didn't even work with him on WoW. I worked with him at 38 Studios for 5 years on Amalur. Yeah. That man is wicked talented and super capable. But yeah, that was the thing about Team 2. Other than the team at 38 Studios, that was just the greatest team that I had ever had the privilege of working on.
Right.
And like the engineering team, the designers, the artists, oh my God, the artists and the animators, and even like the tools team. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like Monty and the tools team and everyone. There are like, I've worked on a lot of great products, but what I remember the most are the teams that I worked on, like the Diablo team, the Dawn of War team at Relic, right? Like the people that I worked on there, you kind of go through this like shipping a game it's just hell, and you go through hell together and then you come out the other side and it's like, oh my God, we can do anything now. And that's what I remember the most about the industry is those people that I had the pleasure. I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity to work next to people like that, like Schwader or Candace. I don't know if you ever got to work with Candace. Like
I desperately want to work with Candace. I know her personally. She's a Facebook friend, and we've engaged casually. But to be able to work with her,
she is just the kind of human being that you're just going to point in the direction and get the hell out of the way, and she's going to give you the best work of her life, And it just so incredibly. Yeah, and those are the kind of people that I remember the most, and the teams are what like really stick with you, I think.
What was different about working at Blizzard for you versus, I mean, you've been at a few studios. I mean, we all have because we've had such long careers, but like, what stood out to you?
So I came from. I sort of went from Relic. I bounced around the Vancouver industry for a while because I knew that I wanted to come to Blizzard. And my friend Jay Wilson was the director on Diablo. And my wife at the time, we lived in Vancouver. And she's like, I don't want to move to California. You're crazy. I don't want to do that. But she sort of described him as my ex-girlfriend because every 6 months or so he'd call me up and go, hey, how's it going? Come down to California, hang out with me for a bit. So then eventually we got pregnant and I convinced her, hey, when you're 6 months pregnant, that's a great time to move to California. So we did that. I don't know how, but we did that. And then the transition for me really was the time that we had on Diablo to have those conversations about what it was we were trying to accomplish, and then the time to implement that and iterate on that. At Relic, it was very much, and at most of the studios that I worked at, it was very much just you have 3 weeks to build the mission. That's it. You build the mission, you do the design, you build it, you're done. Maybe you play test it somewhere along the way. If you're lucky, someone else will. But the next time that anyone really sees it is when you're in the last 2 months and you're desperately trying to bug fix. At Blizzard, like, yeah, it was very much more like, okay, PvP on Diablo. What are we trying to accomplish with this? Try some things out, inevitably cut it. But even with, legendary items, when we were working on those, it's like we always started with the philosophy behind it around like, what are we trying to accomplish with this? As opposed to at other companies, it was much more just like, okay, here's the idea, just build it, right? And then just get it done kind of thing. That was the big difference. I also think it held us back a lot because it took us a lot longer in order to get to like actually building something, because there was a lot more deliberation. There was a lot more sort of theory crafting involved. But I did find that like once I got onto the WoW team, I actually, because of the tools, it was much easier to build rapidly and prototype rapidly while we were doing that theory crafting, while we were having those conversations. So
Yeah, it's a bit different when you're working on a live product and
yeah,
augmenting it than something like D3. And speaking of D3, another game near and dear to my heart, I always like, if I were to ever leave the WoW team when I was there, I was like, I want to go to Team 3 and work over there. And some of my favorite people were also on that team, folks like Critter and
yeah,
Eric Dodds. And of course, one of my dear friends, Travis Day.
yep,
And I don't know if you know this, but Travis Day was one of the key trigger points for us starting Unleashed Games.
really, I didn't know that.
Yes. So when Travis passed in 2022, it was at his memorial actually, and that weekend that Chris and I got together and we wanted to build a game to help solve the loneliness crisis, because we think that loneliness triggers mental illness,
Right,
and it was something that Travis very openly and vocally struggled with. And we really thought that if we could build a game that could connect people the same way WoW did in its earlier days, it doesn't so much anymore. And that was one of
right,
the pains that we wanted to solve, is that WoW used to be an incredible relationship builder, and not so much anymore because of core like infrastructure changes and core features that were introduced that kind of shattered the social fabric of WoW. And we wanted to do something good for humanity, but also create an incredibly entertaining game underneath it.
right. Yeah, I mean, Travis's loss was hard for me for sure. Like, we sat next to each other on the Diablo team, right? Like, we had constant arguments. Speaking of theory crafting, which I deeply
That is
enjoyed. He
consistent.
was, yeah, and then I mean, he even worked at Phoenix Labs for a while, right? Like before he moved. But and I mean, a big part of the reason he moved is to try and get away from, to get closer to other people, to like spend time. Like he realized that for his mental health, he needed to be closer to people, like in an office and everything. But I mean, mental health is just such a big thing for our industry. And I mean, I'm on like kind of a mental health break right now, right? Like where it's like, because of all the things that I had going on in my life, it just all kind of built up to be too much. Like, and so like over the break, I just decided no. Like speaking with my doctor and stuff, it's like, nope, I need to stop. Like this is one of the few things that I'm doing here, which is like, nope. Like this social connection thing is valuable, but the reality is that like mental health is just something that, as creative people, like we have to like tend to, otherwise we risk much more dramatic, you know, final solutions to temporary problems.
Yeah, the game industry asks a lot of us,
Yeah,
because I think it's a blend of, clearly it's work, it's a job, but it also it's our creativity, and it's an expression of
Right.
ourselves and in the form of a game. And also, like, the fans and the players, they're
Yeah.
fairly aggressive in their response.
Well, they can be.
But they also and I think it's because they so deeply love the products that we
Right.
build. They are so invested, and it's an extension of themselves too. It's their world, their reality. So it's a hard balancing act, and we take a risk by building these multiplayer games to appeal to gamers, uh, but we also invest so much, so many hours, so much energy, and so much love.
Like I said, I mean, leaving World of Warcraft, it was like I had to break up with my girlfriend, right? Like I see my son play WoW now, and it's kind of like, that's weird, like there's this like strange thing going on there, where it's like I'm looking at my son play with my ex-girlfriend, it's super weird. But like when it comes to like interacting with the community, and yeah, no, you're totally right. Like the amount of it's a job, but I don't think it's a day job. Like it's like something that can consume us, right? Like because we think about often we play the games that we make, or we are people who make and play this sort of games, and we want to do the best work of our lives for everything that we put time and effort into. And then to see the community react in certain ways, it can be soul crushing, like when we launched Diablo 3, for example, the number of like actual physical threats that happened towards, us had like a huge toll. If you look at, like smart or not, I decided to talk about Diablo and talk about World of Warcraft on my YouTube channel. And there are like a number of very like challenging comments on that thread. But one thing, so I learned like two things kind of going through all the community interaction. One was from Micah, who was the community liaison, the dominant community person for Diablo.
Whipple, my
Michael
cousin.
Whipple.
Did you know I'm like related to
No, really?
We're like third or fourth cousins.
This industry is way too small, mate.
Well, I mean, we didn't know this until we worked together, and I'm like, Whipple? My
Really?
great grandma's a Whipple.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Wow.
Ironic.
So one day I was like, Micah, how do you do this? How do you get up every day? Because I go in the forums and I'm like, what the hell? And that was his job. And he's like, so the first thing he did is he looked at worldwide news and put everything in perspective. He's like, there's people in slums in India who can't even feed their children. Okay. Just perspective, right? Like keep that in mind. And then secondly, for me, something that I learned is that I'm grateful that they care enough to contribute at all. I understand that sometimes that comes through as negative. But then the people that, like, if I ran into someone that, I know it's not around anymore, but I knew that if I ran into someone at BlizzCon who had made all these negative comments on YouTube channel or like the forums or something, I don't think that they would have that same voice, right? Like my hope is that they wouldn't have that same, and you'd be able to see the passion coming through in a different way. So I always look at it as like, the alternative is 0 comments or 0 engagement. Right? Like, yes, there's going to be a lot of like vocal negativity, but, and there's some which I just like, I block on the channel. Cause I mean, the reality is my kids watch these and read these comments too. And there's only so much that I want to like tolerate. And you need to be mindful of that. But the ones that are just clearly passionate about something, it's like, well, at least there's passion there. It might not be like positive in some ways, and maybe they could channel it differently, but I can't control them. So at least I'm getting that kind of level of passion. And then just sort of bringing that back to the mental health thing, like having those social connections. And I mean, talking about World of Warcraft, like, like some of the best friends that I had, I was playing with people who worked on WoW, and I didn't even know they worked on WoW. Like back in the day, like when I was working at Relic, I was playing with like Jalen Brack and his dad and stuff, and I had no idea that I was playing with them. I didn't know that they worked there. It was just like random connectivity, and then you build these like really strong friendships based on that. And a lot of the A lot of the
Magic.
the magic has gone out. Like Kaplan always talked about it as rough edges. We smoothed out so much of the design on World of Warcraft, which reduced the opportunity for people to have those social interactions. Zirhat and I talked about this all the time, right? Like, take a simple thing as mage resource, right? Like, mage resource used to, mana used to drink water in order to build that back up. If you were solo fighting, if you were like questing out there on your own, and you get into like 2 or 3 fights, it used to be you would have to stop and you would have to drink.
Yep.
And what would you do? You're sitting there drinking for 30 seconds. You talk in the chat channel you'd be like, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, you just see this video, right? Like, we smoothed that out. We made it so efficient because it was like, well, rogues can farm faster. So we have to like math it out so that mages can farm equally as fast in order to like make it all like fair, that you no longer have to sit down and drink. So there's no longer that opportunity. It's just like these small, tiny, tiny little like changes across the years, which they are beneficial. They are fundamentally like you look at it as a designer, and when you're on a live product like that and you care about it so deeply, you want to make it better because you're like, well, mages are complaining about this. They have to sit and drink. But it's like, what are you losing when you take that out?
We don't want to give players what they want. We have to focus on what they need to be able to get the experience that we're looking for.
Right.
And that's what you're hitting on is literally our thesis. Is you, in order to be able to have the social connections that we are seeking, you really need to create white space in the game experience. You need downtime. You need an environment where people are just doing nothing but hands on keyboards typing, because if their hands are on their keyboards always casting spells, they're not talking to one another. Right. And if you have to rely on voice, actually relying on voice creates slightly more toxic communities because you don't get a lot, the filtering. I actually think text communication is better. But I played EverQuest for 7 years. I admit this openly. It's a little embarrassing. But I love that game.
90% of people who worked on WoW played it. It's okay.
Well, true. Okay, so the people who work on WoW played it for 20 years. So I guess it's not impressive anymore. But the thing that was magical about EverQuest was when you went to Lower Guck and you were sitting in a dungeon for 8 hours, which we did, and we had a great time doing it. It was like going to a bar, except there was no drinking. So we thought it was actually a more
there might have been drinking, but yeah.
Well, we don't mention that on stream. Oh wait,
sure. Oh, okay.
But like seriously though, while you're waiting for a group and you're sitting there at the zone entrance saying, I was a shaman, so shaman available for a group, and you'd have a conversation with the people next to you. You'd have like your local chat, and then you could yell in the whole zone. And then you had your guild chat that you were talking in. Most of your interactions in EverQuest were literally talking to other people.
Yep.
What are most of your interactions in WoW these days?
Queuing, looking at like a queue.
Clicking buttons.
Yeah, and then immediately being teleported to the dungeon. The way I described it is, think about the looking for group, the dungeon finder, right? Like, amazing tool, totally solved a problem, but can't be reverted or anything like that. But it basically turned dungeons into being road trips with friends into getting on the New York subway, right? Like, it turned from this thing of like, okay, we've got to organize it, we've got to like pack for it, we've got to like, we're all in the car together, someone farts, it's terrible, it smells, but there's funny moments along the way, you stop for food, right? Like, subway is you're all going to the same destination, but no one wants to talk to each other. You do not want to interact with, you just want to get to where you're going to as soon as possible, and then you get off as soon as you're there, right?
You get your drop in Karazhan and
you're done. You just drop, right? Like,
and you never talk to those people again.
Yeah, like a huge part about those dungeons back then was social responsibility, right? That was a core part of the loot design. It was like, this person gets a drop, well, or if I get a drop, I feel socially sort of responsible to come back and help them, right? But if you're on the subway train, I don't care about that person getting to their destination. I don't like them. I don't want to know them. The last thing I want to do is talk to them.
Absolutely.
So,
And there's something that I like to say is that, in behavioral economics, it takes 5 positive encounters with another person to be able to call them a friend till you like cognitively accept them as a friend. And when you have such a
right,
large pool of people that are cycling through, you're never going to play again with the same people. This is a problem that Fortnite has, in that when you're
right.
randomly partying up with folks, you're like everybody's name becomes anonymized because you don't care. You,
Yeah,
there's no glue. And this is
yeah,
actually one of the things that's been really challenging to prove as we've been going out and raising capital, is because folks will come into our game and play test our game, and they'll see that it's a little bit more chill, a little bit more set back. Like you can sit back in your chair and play the game. And then there are moments when you lean in and play. And then the rest of the
right.
time, like you can be chattering. I mean, we'll be talking over voice, but when we're like playing, there's space and it doesn't have the high intensity. So it doesn't like spark the passion of like, whoa, that's a cool moment. There are those moments for sure,
Yeah,
but the intention is those white space moments. And it's not as exciting and it doesn't feel as innovative because we've toned it down. Right. And
right.
it's counterintuitive
Yeah,
to what they're looking for, thinking about what's going to spark the interest of players. But really, what sparks the interest of players is other players and getting to know
right.
them and then knowing that they're logged in and wanting to go back and see them again.
Yeah, it's two things kind of come to mind. Have you seen that cat fishing game that's been big on social lately?
No, but I want to
I
because I
don't
like
know the
cats.
name of it. Maybe someone in chat, but it's like super lo-fi. Like it's literally just cat fishing and social and people just hanging out. And it actually has kind of blown up because it is just that. It's like little mini games that you can do every once in a while with friends. But it's just a safe social. It kind of reminds me of Club
I
Penguin
love it.
almost in that way. And then Roblox, right? Like my son's 11 years old and he does play Roblox. I'm very glad that they implemented a lot of the maturity filters and security stuff that they did recently. Like as soon as they did, he's like, Dad, can you help me break this? And I tried to help him break it and I realized you needed an ID. And I'm like, that's actually the best thing ever. I shouldn't be able to break this. But he and his couple of friends, they sit and they chat and they hang out together. And it's like what I used to do at my friend's place with Halo, just sitting on the couch playing games in that way. And yeah, they're not sitting next to each other, but they are socially connected. They are hanging out as friends. Like his friend Jacob, like he lives in a wonderful family that is just astoundingly busy because they have younger, like 2-year-old kids or like, brand new newborns and stuff. And it's like, well, no, that means Jacob gets to spend a lot of time on a computer. If he didn't have my son, they just wouldn't chat. But because of the way that they play Roblox, they bounce around between different games, right? Like it's kind of like, it reminds me a lot of World of Warcraft. It's like, I'm going to go to the Barrens or whatever. I'm going to go to Burning Steps and farm for a while, just
Yeah,
mine.
hang out.
And I'll just do loops in mine and I'll hang out and chat with my
Something to
friends.
do while you hang out
Or
with
let's get
friends.
together. Yeah, and then let's get together and go to a dungeon together. Or, it is a shared social activity.
It's funny
And I
that
think,
you should mention Roblox because when my babysitter comes to hang with my kids, they literally log into Roblox together, all on their devices, sit in our living room and play
nice.
together. And that's to me the holy grail gameplay
Yeah,
experience. Like what I want for
yeah,
Haven, this is my pipe dream, is a game where, our game where you load it up on all of your devices, whether you're on a console, PC, or on your mobile devices, and you instantly spawn into the world and you can go on an adventure together and you're all in the same room
right.
replicating that LAN party experience that we grew up with, but in a
Yeah,
modern context that like Roblox kind of
right.
hits,
Yeah,
but with a little bit of a wow flair.
right. Yeah, and I mean that fantasy, the IP thing, like that's really big because then it can it turns into that book club, right? Like it's Harry Potter world, or like it, and doesn't have to be theme park. It can just be more like an IP that brings people together
Ooh,
in that shared way, and they
great use
connect
of
around
our
it. Like they want
tagline.
to. Oh, I didn't even know.
Speaking of which, you want to play a game?
I would love to play a game.
Let's play. Let's go play Haven. Let's see. Can you share your screen? It's or I don't see your gameplay
I think
yet.
so.
Let's get in there.
Yeah, let me.
And I'm gonna do the classic. I'm a gamer, so I'm gonna pop a soda.
How's that? Is that working?
Yeah. Here we go. There we go. Wait. We know how to use this new platform. Yes. All right. This doesn't look familiar, or it doesn't look familiar at all. So go ahead and create a character. Let's see what class you pick. What is your typical class when you play?
Warrior, typically.
Nice. I'm noticing already that I need to up the lighting on the character. You should be able to select him.
Okay, there we go.
All right, here we go. Go ahead and offer your thoughts or any sort of impressions as you go.
I have a hard time talking and playing at the same time. Have you ever realized that? Like, have you ever tried like streaming and talking at the same time?
It's hard.
It actually is like remarkably hard. Like, I don't know how they end up, like, streamers end up doing that, but
It's really a talent. I've been practicing a bit because I've been having to every week, but
yeah.
so yeah, check out your abilities.
Okay. Taunts the target. Burning hammer. Extinguish. Okay.
These are all Chris designed abilities, by the way.
Of course they are. One of the things that we always tried to do, I always encourage new class designers to do, is write the tooltip. Like when you're designing an idea for an ability, start by writing the tooltip.
Perfect.
And if it's too complicated, it's too complicated.
Yes. That's another thing that happened with WoW, is that all the abilities became very mathy. Lots of percentages.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of high-level math. Uh-oh.
Well,
It looks like you might need some help. Oh, you died.
I died.
Don't worry, I cheated
Oh,
my way
hello.
over to you. Hey, friend.
Hello.
And I'm going to buff you.
Is that me?
Yes, that was you. That's like one of our 2,000. But you should have in position number 6 a buff that will double your health and mana.
Oh, okay.
So buffs play a really big role in our game because we think that
I was going to ask, what's the value of that? Why not just give that to me by default?
because we want it, because every class has a buff that they can give not only to themselves but other people. So cast it on me. I want it too.
Oh, I see.
It's one of those. It's a low rent thing that you can do for somebody else, and
Yeah.
it's like a little gift. Trying to replicate
Right.
the EQ experience of, hey, does anybody have Spirit of the Wolf?
Gotcha.
But it's a reason to get
Where it
together.
didn't matter if you were in the same
Yeah.
party or not.
See? Now you can take it down. Yay!
There you
Good
go.
tank.
So is it, are you trying to focus on players playing together are successful? Like, how are you balancing the multiplayer versus the single player experience?
Well, we've been focusing mostly on multiplayer since that is the most complicated. But most of the content, most of this content in this part of the zone is soloable. for sure, but
Okay.
you need the buff is the thing that makes you able to take it.
Right.
So that's the difference, and that's one of the things that helps teach players about the value of the buffs too.
Okay. I mean, obviously it's lacking tutorial,
Yeah,
so I'm not going to complain too much about like
it's a prototype.
exactly.
But we've got all the basic systems that you would expect, including harvesting and crafting and building.
It's pretty impressive. Do I have a character? I do have a character. I'm guessing that does more. No, it does less. It's a crude hatchet versus a stone hammer.
What if
I see.
there's no tooltip compare, unfortunately, not yet.
No, that's okay. I actually don't like tooltip compare.
Oh, really? Why is that?
How do you do it in a way that doesn't just end up being a math problem?
That's fair.
Like just a number comparison. That's something that we always had a challenge with on Diablo. Like I hate the fact that on Diablo, basically everyone just looks at an up and a down green arrow, like a red arrow
It's
and a
true.
green arrow.
It is true. But it's important that, like for me, having that tooltip compare allows me to know whether or not an item is better or worse. Oh, hey, we have a friend. And you do have emotes. Buffing Tozeb.
Is this an actual
This
person?
is an actual person.
Okay.
This is Tozeb, who has actually been watching our stream since the very beginning.
Oh,
We started
nice.
streaming in 2023. He comes every week, and he joined our Patreon, so he gets a copy of the build and can join us every week for the playtest.
That's awesome. Are we just part of a group because we're near each
Yeah.
other? Okay,
Yes, we have auto grouping.
great. Guild Wars-ish sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Kind of smoothing the friction in terms of working together.
Can I invert my camera?
No, there's no settings yet. Actually,
Okay.
we were just talking about putting settings in for next week, finding an asset that can get us basic settings quickly.
Oh, I guess I should.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's the first thing that I always did was invert the camera. It's just something about it feels
You're one
strange to
of
me.
those.
I am from Australia,
Oh, you are from down under, so
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
so it totally makes sense that I'm like, it's wrong
You
for
want
me
everything
to.
backwards.
Yes,
Your toilets
exactly.
go spiral down backwards. Your camera's inverted. It
I
travels.
don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. I'm just killing stuff here.
Yeah. Well,
What are
you
these
know,
balls?
so these are. You see that ball that's kind of floating behind you?
Yeah.
These are a little breadcrumb trail that will show you where people have been, where you have been. So in the adventure zones, it's less useful here, but in our procedurally generated, like larger zones, it's actually
Okay.
very helpful when you die. It helps you find your way back to your group.
Oh, okay.
And then if you stand on one of these globes, though it seems like the system is a little bit buggy, it's not working. It's supposed to. Brian implemented it so that the globes convert to literally a sparkly trail that leads you directly to your friends, but it's not.
Oh, Fable sort of thing.
Yeah. So you
Interesting.
can click on any of these objects, and actually down in the lower right on your main menu bar, there's a hammer that gets you to your build menu, and you can actually build stuff. And in fact, one of the first things you want to do when you play Haven is build a house. And I think that there's a quest to do so, in fact. Well,
I built a beacon.
you did.
I don't know what it does.
If you click on it, you'll find out what you need for it. I'm gonna
Okay,
get
so I need crystals.
This is actually a brand new system that we were trying to show off at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But we had some, server issues,
Right.
networking issues, because multiplayer is hard.
Yes.
And, well, let's just say, since you dropped that first, we're going to see what it is. Who knows? Yay. Let's go find some crystals. They're scattered around the zone.
Yeah.
This is all brand new content.
Is it something that I can bring it back and...
You can. And in fact, everybody can help contribute to it. So I'm going to get a crystal myself. Since I have so many buffs, maybe I won't die while doing it. I'm noticing the crystals do not conform to our lighting pattern. They're like standing out like a sore thumb in the distance. I'm going to have to fix the shader on that one. I found a purple one. Let me know when you find another.
Oh. Is building the beacon unlocking everything else, or?
That's kind of the thinking,
right.
But you actually...
Like in Shrouded, where there's like the flame, and then that defines the area that I can build?
That is where we're kind of going with it, but currently you can actually just use any of the existing beacons that are around to access the content that we would gate behind this gate.
Oh, okay.
So let me go deposit.
I thought the beacon that I was placing was different to the beacon that I had here.
It is, in fact. Oh, and there's a weird collision box around this beacon.
Yeah.
All right, I have a purple one and a yellow one. I think we just need the blue one, and then we're all done. Oh, we're building. Come help. Click on it. There you go. This is like the best.
Yeah.
Collaborative building. I think we found our Christmas content.
Yeah.
In January.
That's okay. Tarkov still has Christmas content.
Nice. So does Ark, I was noticing, which is a really weird game to have Christmas content.
So I can't build a house.
You can't?
It's not on the list. Like when I run...
Oh, interesting.
I had it.
Bug. You should be able to...
I have it now.
Close to the blue beacon, because that one's your beacon.
Yeah. Like when I...
Come over here.
Yeah, here I can't. But then over here I can.
You can in the center of town. This is... so the way that this is designed, and it's a little bit buggy right now, it seems. No, well, that red beacon is... see? That red
I can build it here.
Somebody else's building plot.
Oh, I see.
Your building plot is the blue beacon near where you zoned in for the first time. So you should be able to build there. And that's something that I think we need to improve is the messaging around that.
Right.
All right. I have another piece of wood. Let's get in there. Let's build it. You can just do it here.
How are you breaking up the social spaces? Like, is it like everyone on one server? Is it like, because this starting zone is just you and me and Tozub right now, but it's like a single server. Is it the plan to have like everyone will have their own server? Is it like...
It's all a shared world, and you have your own private village space so that you can have a little walled garden. So that you don't have strangers and you can invite people into your village. But then there's a common, the common spaces are the adventure zones, and eventually we will have cities. Like you can build your village up to be a city. in
Right.
order, and then you would open it up to other people at that
Okay.
point, kind of as a destination.
So a bit more like Valheim, but with central locations that you
Yes.
can like join.
The idea when we started this was to create a Valheim where you ran into friends in the wild.
Gotcha.
So your
Yeah, that
village
makes
is your
sense.
own. And that way you could have like a quiet space, and you could certainly invite people to join you.
Right.
We're going to need some cotton bolts. There's only one way to get cotton bolts,
How do we
and
do
that's
that?
come here and click on this beacon over here.
Adventureland or
You
quests?
want to go on an adventure?
Sure.
Let's do it.
It totally reminds me of EverQuest. I don't know why.
Perfect.
Like EverQuest and like Dark
Oh.
Age.
Hey, we have another friend. Hi, Kareem. This is actually a guest star here, Andrew. This is somebody you know from Team 3. This is Sebastien Poirier.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Seb.
Just hanging out, killing krakens.
Hanging out, killing Kraken roots. We thought we'd friend bomb you
There you
on
go.
the stream. All
Why
right.
not? So
I'm following you.
Oh, dude. I don't know why everyone's following me.
Oh. Come this way, everybody. All right. Let's get these things. I'll be. I guess I shouldn't attack. I should be a healer because I have 2 tanks. I have.
Well, I think
tanks
it's okay.
In the morning, I have 2 tanks at night. And you should be able to find cotton on some bushes.
Okay. They're glowy. They're super glowy. I think it's these.
Yep.
Okay. Cotton fiber.
Cotton seeds. I'm going to need some of this to make myself some robes too. Ha! I yoinked that. Sorry, Seb. Oh, we're in combat. Oh, I'm not going to let him die.
I actually had a pitch for a very similar idea that I shared on my LinkedIn. Project Griffin. I mean, it wasn't based around a lot of the social, but it was trying to like solve some of the general problems of massive servers on World of Warcraft, where it was intentionally smaller servers. Like servers were limited, and everyone had to like purchase a server. But that was more based around the whole Rust and Valheim kind of model, where you saw like a lot of people like getting together and wanting to have those social groups, but then because of the larger servers, everyone, to your earlier point, everyone just became a name as opposed to like someone that you actually cared about.
It's a real problem, and when we were first building WoW, that was oh god, oh my heal is not landing fast enough. I hit the wrong heal, and I'm not the best healer. I'm usually a mage.
Am I gonna wait? Is there a res?
There is no res, actually. Okay, putting that on the list. Scourge, we need a res in game. Actually, one of the things that we're going to test for next week is that creating like dynamic bind points for like if you die in battle and there's a campfire near you, that you would respawn at the closest campfire.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. So I just teleport back?
Yes, but
Okay.
you should be able to. Oh, no. Are the globes there? That's a good question. How are you going to find us?
I'm just going to teleport to Adventureland.
Teleport to Adventureland. All right. Lesson. Use ability number 3 before I use ability number 2. One has a 2.5 second cast and one is an
Oh, yeah.
But it costs a lot more mana.
I think you guys are over here somewhere.
Yes, we are. We won't go too far. I'm going to come back toward that valley, I think. Maybe.
I see red dots.
There we go.
There
Hey! Yay! But this is the vibe that we're going for, is like being in a zone, hanging out with your friends, dying.
Right.
You know, like a good MMO.
Yeah. And quests and everything will come.
Yeah, we have some, but we don't really have NPCs just yet.
Sure.
We really focused on just the fight, explore, build portion of our loop. All right. How are the controls?
Yeah, I mean, it totally reminds me of WoW or Dark Age.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it's straight up. It's just like playing one of those games.
That's a compliment. The camera still needs a little work.
Yeah, the camera's a little... there's a lot of clipping. Which I know that's like a general kind of like hard thing to solve for, but like when I go behind a tree, the camera isn't sure what to do, and then I end up being blocked from my character quite often.
Yeah, and I highly suggest not walking into the trees.
You can go straight into trees, huh? See, this is why games are hard.
Yeah.
Because it's just the smallest things that just seem like they're just kind of like, well, that should just work. But the reality is, no, someone actually has to like make that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I probably have enough cotton.
All right.
Do I use the teleport home thing?
You can use the teleport home. All right.
Should I use the teleport home?
Yes, we will all meet you there. Hey, what level are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm level 5.
Okay, me too. I'm close to leveling. I'm also noticing that we made an adjustment to the lighting, and it's, I think, a bit too blown out right now. The player light in this zone in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Shall we go back to town?
Is there anything else to do here? I think we have all the cotton that we need, right?
Oh, there is. But yeah.
I pushed the button and now I'm going back to town. Okay. I couldn't interrupt my... Let's finish building the thing and then we'll go back. And you said I think there was a boss there?
Yes.
Is that what you were saying? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to finish building my building.
As one should. because you got to finish what you start.
Exactly. But how do
Oh, the sparkly lines are now working.
How do I make cotton bolts?
We're going to need a workbench.
I don't have a workbench
We'll have to
in
build
my
one.
list. I don't have one in my list.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, I see that the window is not scaling because we added a new item to the build. Don't mind me. I'm not going to cheat and create cotton bolts.
Please do the cheat thing. We have all the materials.
We need 8.
We're legit.
We're legit. We actually got it.
Yeah.
Here, I'll put them in. There we go. Let's go. I got to write down these bugs.
Yeah. I mean, for how early you are, it's remarkably functional.
Hey, thanks. Lighting in Adventureland, workbench. Yay! This is
It's
our
an
arcane
NPC.
metal. See, we have one NPC.
2 shamblings. I shall accept that. But you said there was a boss back in Adventureland for us to fight?
There is, but we have to find him.
Let's go beat the boss.
But here, you can craft over here. There's a crafting bench.
Oh, wow.
Right? I could make a lot more cotton bolts now.
Well, it doesn't have cotton bolts. For me.
It should. Do you have any bones? Do you have any bones, sir?
No, I don't. I have bark and seed and silver ore.
I'm a little disappointed because I gave my daughter a copy of the build and she's not playing right now.
Oh, no. Oh, I can make cotton bolts. There we go. Never mind. For some reason, because it was white, I couldn't see it. I don't know why.
Oh. See, UI matters.
Yeah.
You can see the really dark, like low contrast red text, but you can't
Well,
see
the red, yeah, stood out like crazy. Green. Make it green.
Make it green. Oh, yeah.
Make it super ugly.
Eric Dodds actually said that to me once in a meeting. He was like, just make it green. And me, the UI designer, was just like, eye roll. No.
All right. Do you want to go beat up the boss?
Let's go beat up a boss. Oh, wait, hold on. Get yourself a... Oh, we should have a rested buff, actually. We should be good. So one of the things that in our game is that if you hang out in your village around buildings, you get a buff that increases your regen by 4, both health and mana, and increases your movement speed. But it only lasts about 15 minutes. So what that does is it like limits your desire to be out adventuring for however long you have that buff. So it sends you like back home, and then it keeps you going in the crafting loop.
Interesting.
I need bones to make some needles. All right. Let's go in a different direction because the boss clearly wasn't where we were.
Let's head towards this town. This thing over here.
So this whole zone is algorithmically generated too.
Okay. So
like when it spun up for the first time and is a completely unique layout.
Right. Are the creatures different each time, or is it, or intended to be different each time, or is it?
It's the same same creature list,
Yeah.
but their spawn points and patrol points are unique.
Right.
And actually, I want to get some more mobs in game. Because we just have the Kraken Roots and Wolves.
We have a lot of bad guys here.
Some, all right, I'm going to just go into healer mode now.
Yeah.
Do the quick instant heal first, Irena, then the longer cast.
The creatures, and it's obvious, but it feels like they need some sort of in-game. It's hard to tell, like what's dead and what's not.
Yeah, I agree.
Like with their name tags stay the same every time.
Actually, we could take off the name tag when they die.
Right.
That's a quick way to do it. All right. Nothing here. Let's keep going. Uh-oh, let me not get into trouble, though.
Is everything here meant to be soloable as well, or is it meant to be more like, no, you should be having a group in order to do adventuring?
It is soloable if you're careful.
Okay. So not
And it
pulling
depends
like
on-
8 mobs at the same time.
Yes, and you can get yourself into trouble. As you can see, we have like giant finger rocks everywhere.
Just means the algorithm likes finger rocks.
It really does. I mean, who doesn't?
How big are these areas? How big are these zones?
There's about like this can hold maybe. Oh, I've got aggro. Oh, and I got turquoise. Help! Help! I'm being attacked. It can hold about 16 players in different groups. And it gives us all about 45 minutes of gameplay at the moment.
Right.
Oh, it looks like we're getting to the edge of the zone. Speaking of the end of the content. Somewhere around here, I'm going to go wander and get myself into trouble to see if I can find the boss. Oh, and I have aggro. Of course I do. I'm very good at getting into trouble, and I shouldn't leave you guys because
No.
I don't want anybody to die. Taunt them off of me, friend.
I didn't realize I didn't have it selected.
Oh. And I want to give like a warriors a charge like ability.
Right.
Because being able to get in there to like save somebody's butt. That's important. Don't fall off the earth.
I really want to go fall off the earth. There's this part of me that's just like, yeah, but what happens? I mean, I know what happens, but you know.
What happens?
But what happens?
Exactly. Where is it? There is a boss in here somewhere. It's a bit of an Easter egg hunt.
Is there meant to be quests associated with coming into these zones, or like the adventure zones, or are they just meant to be like passive areas that I can go and spend time in, or?
Yes.
Like-
And we kind of spin up the zones. The intention is to have about a week's worth of content in a zone and have it have a capacity for about 100 players,
Okay.
so that you have reason to keep coming back and interacting with people.
Right.
Oh, you're out of range.
Oh, I've just wandered off into the middle of nowhere.
Oh, we found it. Come back. Come back. Hold on, now you're in range. I can heal you.
Where's back?
Where is back? That's a good question. Wait, turn around. I'm right here.
Oh, there.
We found it. We found it. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow, that's so blown out. Oh, that lighting is embarrassing. I'm so sorry, Tom. I ruined it. Oh, we definitely want to buff up here.
Okay.
And one of the things that I like to do in this fight is I like to build, I'll build it down here, a fire, campfire. Don't get close. Oh, thank you, thank you. So now the healer and mage can hang out in proximity of the fire and get faster regen, so that we can have enough
okay.
mana.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know the strats, obviously. I've
Sure.
done this 1 or 2
Well,
times.
you've read the wiki.
I did read Alakazam
Yeah. Oh, God.
and got the cheats.
Uh-huh.
I don't have the like the boss mob add-on though. Okay. Ready?
Ready.
I think we're set. Everybody has a buff. I have everybody's buff. I have my own buff. We can do this. Oh, we need dramatic music. So one of the cool things that we do have when we get to that point, oh God,
Heal.
is we have legendary composer Russell Brower. Oh God, no! You died. Shit.
I died.
Oh God. Hold on. So if you zone back in, I mean, you can hang out dead if you want, or if you zone back into the village, there's a cheat teleport back to the boss behind a bunch of rocks.
Like where I spawn?
Probably across the way from where you spawn, near the mushroom circle.
Okay. Heading to Mushroom Circle. Is it near? Oh gosh.
Oh, I'm out of mana. I'm out of mana. I have a mana potion. Good. Oh, wait, don't kill him. Don't kill him. Let him run. Let him run.
I'm looking for Mushroom Circle.
Oh, goodness. Here, I'm going to switch over to you. I'll go back to the big rocks. Right there.
Oh,
see that blue
right there?
beacon over there?
Yeah.
There's another one of those trees right behind that.
Okay.
We'll see. Oh, Kabumot is dead.
That's okay. I'm only here for the loot.
That's appropriate.
I saw him die. I saw him play his animation.
Yay! That's the good part. Okay, now we'll let you loot him. Since it's your first time.
Cassiterite crystal.
That's cool. So this is a controversial decision, but all of our loot items, our components, are crafting resources.
Oh, interesting.
Yay! Yay, we win!
So I don't get loot every time I kill a boss?
Well, you don't get loot, no weapons. You have to take it back and then craft it.
Right, okay.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. But let's go back home to your village, and let's, more importantly, I say let's click on that Christmas beacon.
Let's do it.
Because why the hell not?
Because Christmas. Mate, we only just took our Christmas tree down yesterday.
Oh, mine's still up.
Yeah.
I got to do that this weekend.
As far as I'm
it's still
concerned,
Christmas season, right?
until the guy comes to take down the lights, it's still Christmas season.
The lights guy.
I don't do lights. We're going to Winterland?
Let's go to Winterland. Oh man, the lighting is blown out here. Oh,
Oh, gingerbread.
welcome to Christmas.
I bashed the Christmas tree. I'm bashing the presents, mate.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, you can bash it. Oh, look at all these gifts I'm getting. This is awesome. Oh, there's another gift here. Or anything else? Can we open all of them? But oh, and here's a shadow creeper. Yes. Oh, and we can mine. There's some snowmen here. Because of course there are. And there's a Christmas village full of aliens.
Of course there is. I love it.
Can we go deeper? How
Sure.
deep can we go? Oh, aggro. These things hit a little harder. The shadow has infected Christmas. Yes, yes.
Are we trying to save Christmas?
Oh, a little bit, yeah. I mean, one does. But this is an example of another one of the zones that we can generate.
Right. Like this is auto-generated as well?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
It takes us, this was built in about a day.
Right.
Which is the fun of it. I mean, you can build this out and then an artist can actually fine-tune it to make it a little bit more crafted feeling.
Right.
But it's just a kind of a capability of our system. Just make as many zones as you want.
Yeah.
And we can make seasonal content really fast, and be responsive to the community if they get bored with our zones. What we want to do is kind of create a gallery of beacons. In Valheim, you'd always have like a portal island,
Right.
of like new adventures that you could travel to.
Yeah.
And we want that same vibe, except taking you to new zones.
Gotcha.
This place is
There's
ridiculous.
a lot of bad guys.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I'm not the right level for, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, I went into this crazy area.
Oh, but yeah, you are. You're fine.
Yeah. I'm level 8 now.
This, right? Oh, but you've got more aggro.
I got a lot.
I can do damage too. Yeah. I finished it.
Nice.
Oh, no, I don't want to heal the wolf. I want to kill it. Oh. All right. I'm burning through my mana real fast here, though.
Do you have mana potions?
We shall see. No.
Can I trade or no?
Yeah, you can.
Here.
If you target me, there's a trade button underneath your target. Well, hey, thanks, friend. Here, I'll give you something in exchange. I'll give you some gems.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm happy. Happy for mana potions. This holiday magic. Or madness. One or the other. Uh-oh.
He's back.
There's a couple more. Oh, and he's aggroed. Oh, shit. This is going to go really well for us. Uh-oh. Help.
This is when Santa needs to come along
Yeah.
with his reindeer and do a bombing run. I don't think I'm going to survive.
Oh, I leveled up, though. Oh, no. Oh, I think we're all going to die. Help. Well.
That's awesome.
Well, that's our game. What do you think?
I love it. I think it's got a lot going for it. I think at its core, it's got a lot of promise, and you can sort of see the fuzzy, like you can sort of see it. Do you know what I mean? Like you can sort of see like the potential for the social component. I like the town crafting, especially. Like I can sort of feel the Valheim element of it. The one thing that it feels like it's lacking on the Valheim side is like there's an amount of I don't know, like Valheim still, like when I play Valheim with my kids, I still feel like I'm getting a lot more of that collaborative component of it because we're all putting stuff in shared storage, like we're all like putting stuff in something together. There's these big sort of chunky goals that we get to work towards that like I see like the potential for it here, but it's like it also just kind of needs like that. Like it's almost like building a house or building the big kind of blacksmithing thing. It feels like I want to be able to contribute all those components. And then there's this moment that we all need to come together, almost like a forced thing of like, no, I need more people like to encourage some of that social thing. But overall, like I think it's got a lot of like promise to it. I definitely, like I said, it totally feels like EverQuest or like the original like Dark Age almost, right? Like that feeling of like, yeah. So it's very cool.
I love it. And you're so right. And some of it has to do with the timing of how long it takes to build. Like one of the ways that that we handle that is like the build cycle. If you were to build an arcane mill by yourself, it would take a lot of time.
Right.
But when you have the shared work and you all build together, it actually speeds it up really, really fast. And the more people you have, the faster it is to build.
Yeah, and I'm sort of seeing the sped up version. I'm sort of seeing the like I joined with a group of friends who already know how to play. And they're just like speeding me through it almost, as opposed to that raw Valheim intro experience, which is like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I just run around for a while and figure it out.
That's the best part
because we have a limited stream, right? Yeah. But that's like that's the part that like you kind of get that initial chunky kind of like experience where you start feeling like an association with the game because you had to like learn through that challenge a little bit. So I can see the promise to it for sure. I like the generated environments, the adventures. I do think it needs a bit more of like a purpose, like running around in there, like for good or bad, they almost remind me a bit like islands from that World of Warcraft feature of the islands almost, where it's like, but I kind of wish there was like group goals, almost like Guild Wars 2, where it's like, okay, instead of it being like a zone, like an area of like a zone where you all come together and like solve a problem, it's almost like I go to that entire like land, and then that land has these massive group goals that we're all trying to like solve together. Something
Yes.
that's collaborative, or like you could do like daily, like shared daily quests, or right, like you could do like slay X wolves, and then at the end of that, like there's this benefit to it. I think Diablo 4 has some of those components of like doing those big world events, then leads to like an unlock. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, those moments that kind of bring people together within the adventure zones, and we need to kind of get that.
Right.
I think that's the next stage for the zones,
Yeah.
is to
Yeah.
give a little bit more interest there. Uh, but you kind of nailed it. It's creating purpose, and purpose that everybody can contribute to, that
Right.
makes games like this special.
Yeah, and seeing a bit of that loop, right? Like right now, I see the crafting component, like the house and all, but seeing that loop of like, oh, okay, I need to go to an adventure, I need to do a thing there, I need to come back, and then that serves me back in my base, right? Like seeing like what that sort of like that core loop is of the gameplay, like how those things are like tied together. Like right now, they do feel a little bit like they're separate chunks almost, and they're
Yeah,
serving a
they're totally
purpose
different.
because the boss is there, but it doesn't feel like they're connected back to like enough almost of like, oh, I can see myself logging in on a day-to-day basis with my friends, and I can see myself logging in and spending time in this adventure because this is like a lower difficulty, or like a more soloable adventure versus like, and then I see my friends log in and then we jump in together into like a harder one, or like seeing some of that core loop would be really beneficial. So
That is amazing feedback. Thank you.
yeah, of
We have,
course.
I think we have all like the raw components there, but it's about
Yeah,
building the thread and
right.
pacing it out,
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
like when you zone in, getting that leader into, you know, you need a house at some point, or something that draws you into building that house, because you
Right.
figure out that there's a benefit there,
Yeah,
and working your way then to the next objective and the next objective.
right.
But
Or
that's
even,
another thing. Oh, go ahead.
you first log in and the first thing you see is the house, sort of the foundation for it, right? And then your first quest is finish building your house or something, right? Like, and then that can like drive like more connecting. And then it's like, okay, well, you need to go on an adventure in order to get an item that then brings you back and allows you to complete your house, kind of thing. Like something along those kind of lines. Yeah.
Yeah, or be able to even upgrade your house.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Totally.
well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah. No, it's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I really
I
appreciate
hope
it.
you had some fun.
I did. I love playing games. I love talking about games, especially the industry. Like, I think there's a lot of, like I was saying earlier before we started, it's like a big reason why I started that YouTube channel is I think like the more people in our industry that are open and kind of doing what you're doing here, of building in the open and sharing kind of candid and transparently about what a lot of their experience has been like. I think that helps us broadly as an industry. Like GDC is like a one-time thing, but with YouTube and streaming, and the more people who are willing to put themselves out there and be accessible in that way to a broad community and just sort of share how they think about things, it can be beneficial. So
Absolutely. And speaking of your YouTube channel, please, please, please go and subscribe to Andrew's YouTube channel, Andrew Chambers Design. I'm linking it here. Uh, and check out some of his videos. He's got some great breakdowns of some of your favorite games, and like amazing insights. And especially if you're a budding game designer or an aspiring game designer, you can learn so much. So again, thank you for joining us,
yeah, of
and
course.
giving us your feedback. And now one of the things that we do is we use a tool called LiveAware, where we upload these videos quite literally directly into LiveAware, and it's a AI evaluator, and it captures all the sentiment, and it gives us issues. Any of the things that you said were feedback, it captures that feedback and
Oh,
puts
that's
it
great.
together and collates it with all of the other videos that we have uploaded.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
It's really, really powerful. So every single playtest that we have is actually building value for us when we get into a full production mode.
Oh,
So
that's
you
great.
have done us a massive favor offering us your time and your giant game design brain. I look forward to enlisting your aid more in the future.
I'd love to help out if I can. So yeah. No, it's been really enjoyable. Thanks for having me.
Well, everybody, thank you again for joining us, and make sure to, if you're not subscribed, wherever it is that you're connecting to us, make sure to like our LinkedIn page. We're on X, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. Just find us. Every single like matters, every single subscription matters, and your support extra matters. And we'll be back next week with a whole new guest. And thank you, Andrew, and we'll have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you very much.
Bye,
See you.
everybody.
Bye.
Hit that button and buy a t-shirt with a dragon on it, and that will help us keep making some awesome games. Looks like this. I've already seen a Unleashed t-shirt out in the wild that I wasn't wearing, and I'm super excited about seeing more of them. So, yeah, buy a t-shirt.